So here we are on the group visit to the Falkirk Wheel, a Scottish masterpiece in engineering. I decided to stay off the barge today because you cannot actually see what's going on once you're on the barge. So I'm just filming it going up just now. Unfortunately, Rosanna, you missed this because you were out partying till early hours of the morning, I believe. I don't know if that's true, I am only having a laugh. But it's a shame that you missed this, Rosanna, so I thought also I would film this especially for you. As you can see, as the boat is lifting up, this section comes down. There's hardly any noise whatsoever. But you cannot actually see what's going on when you are on the barge. So hence is why I decided to film this for everyone. And of course, Rosanna. Hopefully you had a nice morning in bed, chilling out. Hopefully Jessie took you back some food. And we all just made it on time. It was a tight squeeze run to the bus, from the bus to the barge. And there we go, that's them up to the top. Just about, see them coming round now. And you go for a little sail along the canal. Just about getting to the final stage. Needs to align with that section there. See, this is still slowly moving round as well. Says that's coming round slowly to a line. Make sure the barge doesn't fall. You don't want any injury claims on the last day of your tour to Scotland. I hope you enjoyed your tour around Scotland. We started off in Glasgow. We met Karen, our lovely tour guide. We then had dinner in the Willow Macintosh tea room. And of course we had the wonderful visit to Robert Burns' cottage and the Brig o' Doon. We then headed up into the Highlands to the beautiful seaside village of Oban, the seafood capital of Europe. And then we headed up to Inversnecky. Of course, we did visit the Isle of Mull to take us across to Iona, the birthplace of Christianity. I hope you think the long day was worth it once we arrived in the ancient nunnery and of course the abbey. The shrine of St Columba, the first person to have been recorded to repel Loch Ness Monster Nessie, of course. And of course we headed up to Inversnecky, and on the way there we stopped off at Urquhart Castle. We took a cruise up the Loch Ness. Unfortunately Nessie was nowhere to be seen. We spent a beautiful couple of days in Inverness. I believe quite a few people went to a bar and listened to some traditional Scottish music. And then we headed down to Aberdeen, or as we call it in Edinburgh, Aberdoom. Luckily the weather wasn't too bad. Of course we met Gracie's farm, the Highland Coo. We got to eat a Highland Coo, which is not for me, to be honest. And then we went of course to the Royal Lochnagar Whisky Distillery, where we got to sample some local whiskies, of course, before heading to the beautiful town of St Andrews where the bones, the relics of St Andrew were taken sometime between the 4th and the 9th century. The home of golf, or so-called home of golf. And then of course we saved the best till last, the piece de resistance, the capital city of Scotland, the cultural heart, the beating heart, the financial heart of Scotland. My hometown of Edinburgh. Edward died in November, buried under Robert Graham's house. And of course we finish off at the Falkirk Wheel. And here is the barge, slowly making its way down as the other one comes up underneath it. And of course, you cannot see this happening. Hence the reason I did not board today. I hope you did not think I was abandoning you. I hope it makes more sense that I have come here to film this for you. And soon they will be equidistant. Let's zoom in and see if we can see. Very slowly, only using the power of 11 kettles, which I'm sure the owners of the canal, the Falkirk Wheel, are very pleased of. There is almost the moment, yes, where the barges meet in the middle. Electricity has risen over 200% in Scotland. And I bet the owners of this Falkirk Wheel are very pleased. It does not use very much power at all. And that is almost now back to the starting position. As you can see, I'll just hopefully greet them as they come off the barge. As you can see, the water coming in over here as the barge is coming down. The chap over here better release something. And here we are, back to the starting position yet again. So as the water level rises up again, the barge is in the lower position. The water is filling up to reach the level of the basin here. And then the barge will move along and people will exit along here. It's really quite spectacular to see. Although you cannot see much whilst you're on the barge itself. So that is the water level reached now. So they've released the water back into the basin so it meets the water level inside the Falkirk Wheel itself, allowing the barge free movement. Quite clever.
Wenn du vom Kanal kommst, kommst du da hinten vor den Kanal, hier
And here she comes. Antwine, after the Antwine Wall, which the Romans had to try and build to protect them from the barbarians of Scotland and Pictland, which you've heard about on this tour. The painted people, the Picts, a Celtic pride. And here is the little barge coming in. Here's Mary Ellen and Fran. I can see Jessie, Andrew, Catherine, Jim and Janet, Holly and Tom and Andy and Joan. And that's it now, swung round to the final position. And my guests will start to slowly disembark from the barge before we head off to the Kelpies. Of course, the Kelpies are related to Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. There's Mike coming off. Great guy, Mike. Loves to tell a joke, had us all going. Told us he was in prison and so on. His long-suffering wife, Mary Ellen. And there's Joan and Jessie coming off. Tom and Catherine. There's Jessie. A lot chirpier now than it was a few days ago. And Andy and Holly. Andy. And Mary Ellen is coming off. There's Andy. Holly. I hope Holly has enjoyed Scotland. And Tom loves to ask a question. Very educated man. And Joan, what a character Joan was. And Andy, she was so brave. She braved the Scottish weather, going out only in t-shirts on several occasions. I must admit I was quite shocked. And there's Fran coming off as well. Fran is travelling on her own. A long member of the OAT, a very well respected member.